Now all we have left is the best bet gauntlet. JT, let's brag a little bit. I am 11-9 on the year. Finally got off the schneid, got above 500, built a cushion for myself. I'm like a well-oiled NFL team. I'm like it's September, October. I'm kind of fiddling around. We're going to peak at the right time. We're trending in the right direction. You are either a team that's going to fall apart down the stretch, or maybe you're just the 17-0 Patriots, because maybe, holy cow, 16-4. Can't ask for a better start than that. You have essentially bought yourself 2 to 3 total dud weeks, and you'll still be well above 500. So well done. And the show record, which is what really matters to us, because again, a little peek behind the curtain. We're trying to get the best show record possible. We're making a lot of these bets in cahoots, and it's just who gets to them first in the order and who gets to claim the silly little competition. But ultimately, we want to make you money, and we want you to bet all 10 of these games. JT, so far that's been so good at 27-13, a blistering 68% on the year. Once again, I tell you, if you're not betting with the best
almost
bet gauntlet,
10% over like professional bettors.
Yes,
by the way. Professional
bettors are very happy with 58%, and we may end up at 58% by the end of the year. But right now, we're playing with our hair on fire. We're making a ton of money. I believe I did the math the other day. I wish I'd written it down. I believe a $100 blind better with us.
I do remember
if you remember the okay. So if you are a blind better betting $100 on each of the 10 sides we've had through 4 weeks, how much money would you be up through 4 weeks, JT?
I believe it was $1,154 and some odd cents.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of money.
Money that you could be making without having to even think. We'll do the thinking for you. We'll do the research for you. And with that, JT, let's dive into our week 5 best bet gauntlet for the fifth consecutive week. Yes, things are falling. I get the first pitch because you've been on fire, and even though we tied last week, T-Box is still mine. So with my first bet, I'm going to be taking a game that I locked in on Twitter. Again, folks that aren't familiar with the best bet gauntlet, sometimes on Tuesdays and Wednesdays when we are expecting a line to move during the week, we lock it in on Twitter with the hashtag best bet gauntlet. We retweet it on the Hot Read Twitter account at Hot Read Pod. You got to make sure you're on those so that you can get the best of the number. So I locked in that best number on Tuesday. I'm taking Miami minus 10.5 against the Giants. Last I checked, it's up to 12. I still like it. Not as much, but I still like it as long as it's under that 13 number is kind of the next key number there that you're wanting to get under. A couple of reasons why for this game. It is a big, big number. So generally hate taking big favorites like this. I'm making a big fat exception for this Miami team because of 2 things really that aren't compatible for the Giants. Thing number 1, the only way that we have seen so far this year to get after Tua Tagovailoa is to pressure him. The Giants have the lowest pressure rate of any team in the NFL. So those things aren't compatible. They're not going to get pressure, and I think that the Dolphins are going to walk their way to 40 or 50 points. The Giants, for their part, have unbelievable injury luck right now, misfortune right now. Their offensive line is destroyed. The Dolphins' defense can and will get after Daniel Jones, and I just don't see how the Giants really score at all in this game. Danny Dimes continues to throw picks. It's hard to blame him a ton because the situation he's been given is a disaster. Things are spiraling in New York for the G-men, and I think that they get killed in this game by 2 touchdowns pretty easily. Really, the only thing I'm worried about in this game is a backdoor cover because I don't see any way by the end of the third quarter the Dolphins aren't already considering putting in backups.
I mean, I like that pick. Like the Giants this year, minus 76 point differential, worse in the NFL. You're going to have fans in that stadium booing their own right tackle this week. If you're familiar with the Evan Neal situation, that has been...
You're all burger flippers, and Evan Neal is better than you, so boo louder, he says.
The vibes are not right in New York,
not
and
great.
I think that the Dolphins are going to come in and make them even worse. So I like that pick.
Yep.
My first pick this week is going to be an ugly one. We're starting off with the ugly picks this week, but I am taking Pittsburgh and Kenny Pickett plus 4.5 against the Baltimore Ravens this week. This is a straight just lock. You see the trend, you lock the trend. This is an auto bet for me because
on the surface, it's disgusting. It's gross.
Very
If
ugly.
you look at the numbers, I'm with you 100%. This is an auto bet. Tell us why.
Over the last 20 years in this Ravens versus Steelers matchup, the underdog in this series is 28-12-3 against the spread when they play in the regular season, and the line is 3 or more currently, like it is right now at +4.5. The underdog is 21-3-3 against the spread.
So it's always a field goal game, and the underdog usually wins.
Yes, and then the underdog has covered 11 straight in this rivalry and is 15-1-1 against the spread since 2015. This is Mike Tomlin game where he gets right. This is always close. It's once again, like I've said, basically every single week with these AFC North teams, they're always close. It's always by a field goal. If I can get it over that, I'm taking it every time. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers +4.5 to start off this week.
Yep, I love that bet. Love that bet. I absolutely will be making that myself. With my second bet of the Week 5 best bet gauntlet, I'm taking Buffalo +5 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars over there in foggy London town, where we will be in less than a week.
I don't think we've ever said that on the show.
Oh yeah, have we not? We're going to be in London. We'll be covering the
that'll
game.
be fun.
I think we have. I thought we mentioned it. Maybe
I don't
not.
think we have.
If we didn't, we'll be there in London next week covering that game, which should be a ton of fun. And we'll be doing a lot of shenanigans with the show and doing the show live from over there. So, but Buffalo +5 versus Jacksonville. Really simple here. Like I said earlier, the favorites in London tend to travel well. I believe it's north of 55% or 57% off the top of my head. I'll have to fact check myself on that later, but I believe it's 57%. The favorites have covered and won outright over there. The stat we continue to throw out with Buffalo is that when they win big. Josh Allen, I believe, in 57, now 58 with last week's game, 58 career games, he has won north of 65% of them when he wins by 7 or more. So when he wins big. So if you think the Bills are going to win and they're favored by under a touchdown, it's typically an auto bet to take them over that touchdown. For Jacksonville part, I just don't love what they've been doing offensively. It's Press Taylor, the guy calling the plays. He needs to give up that headset to Doug Peterson.
Some have theorized that he already has.
Yeah, but based on last week, I'm not sold on that. It was a nice win for them, but that performance is going to get beat by a touchdown or more by the Buffalo Bills, who for my money, are the best team in the NFL right now. Well, we don't have to talk about that, but I think that they're playing with their hair on fire. That defense is going to be nasty. It's going to get up to Trevor Lawrence. There's a lot of reasons why I think Buffalo is just outclassing Jacksonville here. Give me the Bills to win by a touchdown or more.
With my next pick here, I'm going to a team that I've just kind of fallen in love with this season because they've made me a lot of money. And even though it might be time to sell on them, I'm going to continue to buy their stock.
Too. They're pretty fun
they're the Sharps always love the other team against them. And I'm going to keep saying, you know what, Sharps? 40% of the time you are wrong, and so far I've been right on almost every time.
This is the weekly JT Sharps or dumb pick.
This is the Sharps or dumb pick this week. I am picking Houston +1.5 at Atlanta. This is just kind of also a common spot to take them here. Usually want to bet underdogs with low totals. Underdogs with over-unders of below 42 are 69-40-2 against the spread, which is good for 63% in the first 8 weeks of the season over the last 20 years. Currently, the over-under is 41.5. Also, Arthur Smith has just not been good at home covering the spread. Smith is 9-9 straight up and 6-12 against the spread at home as a head coach. The worst Falcons head coach against the spread at home in the last 20 years. And since he's been hired in 2021, he's the least profitable coach against the spread at home. I like what CJ Stroud and this offense is doing. I don't trust Desmond Ridder. I think the one way that this bet could come back to haunt me is if
run game.
Is if Ridder throws an early pick and Taylor Heineke
and you get the better quarterback.
And you get the better quarterback in there.
So are you not concerned at all about, and I'm playing devil's advocate here because I like this side as well. The thing that concerns me besides the possibility of Heineke coming in is that run game. Arthur Smith is a rugby team. They're the Navy midshipmen out there. They'd love to just run all day, every day. And Houston can be run on.
They can be run on, but if there's a team that I think has the offensive firepower right now to just outdo it, it's Houston right now. I
agree.
And DeMeco Ryans, I think, even though Arthur Smith can run, I've
loved what their coordinators have done so far.
This is a new Houston Texans team, and DeMeco Ryans is a defensive-minded guy. I'm still not too worried about that.
I've watched some tape cut-ups from people like that are really grinding Texans tape, talking through some of the highlights. Their coordinators have been kind of in their bag so far. I got to learn their names because they may become head coach candidates if they keep this up. With my third pick in the best bet gauntlet for week 5, I'm taking for the 5th consecutive week. Somebody on the show will be betting the Titans game. So I'm betting the 3-1 ATS Tennessee Titans, who are currently -2.5 at Indy. Now, I foolishly did not lock this in early in the week because I did not think I wanted anything to do with this Titans line early in the week. Up until about 24 hours ago, I had no interest in this Titans line. If you forced me to bet this game, I actually was going to take Indy because this was on paper to begin the week a good spot for Indy. But I've had my mind changed, and let me explain to you why. The reason I say I'm foolish, by the way, the Titans were underdogs. They are now favorites. They are now 2.5-point favorites. As long as you're getting it under the field goal, I still like the number. But hopefully you got a better number earlier in the week, and maybe that goes down with maybe the public comes back in on Indy. I kind of think that it won't. I think it's going to hover to 2.5 for the rest of the week. JT, I don't know if you remember last week I was talking about in that Jets game, the Jets-Chiefs Sunday Night Football game. It was a gross pick. It was our ugliest pick of the week. And it covered, but it was painful. But it did cover, and it was a game that nobody was on the Jets in that game from a betting perspective. And the reason why you bet it, among other things, was there has been a professional betting syndicate that I have.
Betting Illuminati Pentaveret Secret Society.
This betting syndicate has each week so far this season, 4 of the 4 weeks, they've gone big on one particular side. They pick their spots, they choose their spots, and they typically are right. This is why they make bank. These are the people that Vegas fears. And they came in. I heard from the people that report on this. I got the report this morning that they placed a big position on Tennessee in this game, which perked my ears up because it went counter to what I thought this game was going to be. You look into some more of the numbers, some more of the trends. It sounds like Tennessee is the side here. Every indicator that we think of on the surface, it's a divisional game. It's a home dog in a divisional game. It's a Titans team coming off of a big win. It's a Colts team coming off of a painful loss. Like it's a buy low, sell high spot. That sounds like a bad idea. And that's why I didn't want anything to do with the Titans game to begin with. But in my experience, tailing some of these syndicates, when all of the traditional indicators point one way, and then they come in with a position heavily against that, they know something. And so maybe I'm walking into it, and if I lose, I'm willing to lose. I'm willing to pay the price for having bet on this team that is this betting syndicate that is 4-0 this year and have not led us astray even in the grossest of bets. I'm in with the syndicate. We'll see what happens. I'm taking Tennessee -2.5.
Well, also, I mean, Mike Vrabel historically against the Colts, he's played them 10 times now. He's 6-4 straight up and against the spread against this Colts, but 5 in a row now. He's 5-0 against the spread and straight up against this Colts team in his last 5. I don't hate that pick currently.
Okay. All right.
My next pick here, heading back to the well that's made me some money so far. Give me the New England Patriots hosting the New Orleans Saints.
Good, gross one.
+1. They are underdogs. They are home dogs. Once again, Bill Belichick last week got absolutely embarrassed. I'm expecting a huge bounce back game for him against a New Orleans team that I really just have a lot of questions with this offensive, what they're doing on offense.
Just in general, this offensive
I have a lot of questions.
Offense, all of it, yeah.
Derek Carr still with that AC joint sprain, dealing with. I don't expect the same Alvin Kamara
But so we're going to get 13 checkdowns to Alvin Kamara this week?
13 checkdowns last week to Alvin Kamara, in which one of those receptions was for 11 yards. So when you really think about it, it was like 12 receptions for like 20 yards.
He was the first player in league history to record 13 or more receptions and less than 70 yards, and he only had 33. He cut it in more than half.
It was crazy, man. And I just think that this is an inefficient offense with a bad offensive line currently. I don't think Bill Belichick is going to let this game get out of hand. I think this is a game that they can win. Derek Carr also has just not been good on the road since 2017. He's 19-31-2 against the spread on the road. He's the least profitable road quarterback against the spread in that span. There's been 123 quarterbacks in that span, and he's 123 of 123. I'm looking for New England to bounce back here.
I like that pick. I've been a little long-winded so far, so I'll keep the next two relatively brief. I really like the Rams in this spot. They're going to be my fourth pick in the Week 5 Best Bet Gauntlet. Give me the Rams plus 4.5. They are at home hosting the Eagles. The handicap here is pretty simple for me. The Eagles look like and credit to you, if your team can do this, this is the dream. They are a team that is kind of struggling to do what they want. They're having a hard time, some inconsistencies, and they're 4-0. They've not looked they have not looked great for a 4-0 team, but they are 4-0 nonetheless. I think that this Rams team is surprisingly good this year. Then they're capable in the trenches is where it's really holding them back. And if the Eagles manage to ruin the day of the offensive line of the Rams, then that might just ruin this bet. But as long as they can sort of hold up, Matt Stafford's been dealing back there. He's looked like vintage Matt Stafford. He's looked like he's still got the pop, still got the zip. Looked like one of the best versions of himself that we've ever seen. He's got a stud all-time receiver on his team, and now Cooper Kupp coming back.
Yes,
so you've got Puka Nacua, future Hall of Fame receiver, now put in tandem with Cooper Kupp. A lot of people talking about how Kupp comes back, and there goes Puka. I kind of think it's going to look a lot like you saw peak Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods split there. I've already called Puka Nacua a very lame and obvious attempt by the Rams to blatantly clone Robert Woods, and he's the player that they're utilizing him the same way that they utilize Robert Woods, and so I think that that's going to be one where you see those two ball out together and not in spite of one another. 4.5 is just too much to lay at home. It's pretty simple handicap. Home dog, LA getting 4.5. I think that they keep this within a field goal. Give me the Rams to at least cover, if not win outright, and hand Philly their first loss of the season plus 4.5.
Yeah, with my fourth pick here, I'm going with the Green Bay Packers headed to Las Vegas on Monday Night Football. This is one where it's kind of a half vibes pick, so you can give me on the vibes pick counter. You can give me a half win or a half
currently
loss.
1-1 on vibes picks.
I do have some reasons why I like this game. Matt LaFleur is 5-0 straight up and 4-1 against the spread with the Packers on Monday Night Football. He's been a guy that has kind of coached his team into winning a lot of these close games so far. Obviously, this is kind of a buy low spot on a team that kind of got absolutely embarrassed last week against a Lions team. But I think that
I'd say definitely got. I don't think there's anything kind of about it. I mean, that was at home in front of your fans, storied franchise to the lowly, lousy Lions, the Motor City Kitties.
Call them lowly.
I'm saying that's the perspective of these Green Bay fans and players and folks that this culture demands better.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I just don't think this Raiders team is very good.
You don't say. I don't either.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Aiden O'Connell. I don't think it matters. I think the Packers are just the better team. I think that the Packers are a lot better than what I think bettors currently are thinking this Packers team is, which makes this game for me not -1, but more of a pick 'em for them here. I think they just win outright.
Coaching mismatch for sure.
Mismatch. I think the one thing you could say is, it's a Devontae Adams revenge game. I mean, I don't know, man. I think if the quarterback can't get Devontae Adams the ball in the first place, is it really going to matter that much? I don't think so. So I'm going to take the Packers -1 on Monday Night Football.
I like that pick. With my fifth and final pick of the Week 5 Best Bet Gauntlet, I'm taking Arizona +3, getting the field goal versus Cincy. Another game where you're not getting the best of the number. So if there may be a point in this weekend where you get Arizona 3.5, look out for that. Grab it if it's there. But even at the flat 3, I am fine taking Arizona to win this game at home. Josh Dobbs been balling. This is another team. The Texans and the Cardinals have been the two pleasant surprise teams for me this year, not just in their level of play and the execution of their players, but also in the way that their coordinators have been playing, or they've been calling and coordinating really, really nice, creative, fun, fresh games, making sure to push the easy buttons for the younger, more limited players, and it's working out well for them. It's paying dividends. I think that's going to continue. I think Arizona is continuing to be feisty. I think that the cringe lord himself, Jonathan Gannon, has somehow won over that locker room with, listen, results speak volumes. You don't have to be down with it with the kids. You don't have to be cool, hip, and nasty with it. You can just be a winner. And that's what Jonathan Gannon has. I mean, he's been as close to a winner, I guess, as you can be without totally being a winner. On the other side of the coin, Cincinnati, You
It's
feel
tough
like
look right now.
you feel like
Looking like no T. Higgins this week.
yeah, they're due eventually. But is it now? I'm kind of just at the point where I'm going to bet against them until they show me
they're
something,
kind of,
show me anything.
also for this pick, the Bengals are facing the anti-Bengals. Like the Bengals are, I wouldn't say anti-Bengals, but the Bengals of last year. The Cincinnati Bengals of this year are facing the Cincinnati Bengals of last year, in which this Cardinals team, despite all expectations, is now 4-0 against the spread. So I expect them to stay hot. I think this spread is a good one. So I like that pick for you.
Yep.
My final pick here of the Week 5 Best Bet Gauntlet, Dallas plus 3.5 at San Francisco.
Big game.
It is a big game, but since 2021, the Cowboys are 10-4 straight up and 11-3 against the spread in night games. The most profitable team against the spread at night in that span. It's going to be a big game. It's going to be high pressure, but regardless, if this Dallas team does lose, it's always an embarrassing fashion where the San Francisco 49ers beat them by a field goal and Dak does something wild and wacky on the last drive of the game.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting much of the same, if not the Cowboys to kind of get right and just kind of exercise some demons in this game. Regardless, I don't think that it is going to be a blowout, kind of the opposite of one of your picks. It is a unstoppable force and a movable object, a team that is scoring over 30 plus points per game versus a defense that has given up the fewest points in the league. I expect this one to be closer. With the hook right there, I like the Cowboys plus 3.5.
I think the Cowboys are the side there. The hook is what does it for me. All right, so to summarize our picks this week in the Best Bet Gauntlet, Week 5, JT going with Pittsburgh plus 4.5 versus the Baltimore Ravens, Houston plus 1.5 at Atlanta, New England plus 1 versus New Orleans, Green Bay -1 at Las Vegas, and Dallas plus 3.5 at San Francisco. I'm rocking with Miami minus 10.5 versus the New York Giants, Buffalo -5 versus Jacksonville, Tennessee minus 2.5 at Indy, the Rams plus 4.5 versus Philadelphia, and Josh Dobbs and the Arizona Cardinals plus 3 versus Cincinnati.